Some great vistas here at Marrakech. The Red City in the background, the Atlas Mountains, snow-capped, and they were shrouded in cloud this morning, but that has just about made its way away. It's pretty leaden skies overhead, and after race one, a lot of damage. That little love tap from Alex McDowell on the back of Tom Coronel's car. And they've kissed and made up. It was certainly unintentional. I think Tom's pretty much aware of that. You know, braking hard into the first corner on lap one, it's always going to be a little bit fraught.
I was just talking to Tom actually a little bit earlier about the incident, and he said I spoke to Alex after, and I said, next time I'm behind you owe me something. So I think they're all friendly and pally now. But
yeah, well, you know, it's give and take, isn't it? You're always going to be in the mix, and particularly if you're in the top 10, if you start behind somebody and tap them in race one, you know they're going to be starting behind you in race two with the reverse top 10 grid. So you've got to be very careful about cynical racing, and that seems to have not been a part of this championship at any stage. Looking here at our three-time champion, Ivan Muller won the title in the last 2 years with Chevrolet, having won once with Seat, and is now looking for his third consecutive and fourth overall World Championship title. That's something that no driver has managed in World Touring Car history. Andy Priaulx, the only other three-time World Champion, didn't manage more than four, rather. More than three. Pepe Oriola, well, he's looking very strong this season. Came into the championship as an unknown 16-year-old last year, and giving the Chevys a really tough run for their money all the way through race one here. And now he starts in front of them, sixth place on the grid. You've got to wonder if he's figuring he's going to get on the overall podium from here. He made such a good getaway at the rolling start. If he can make a good getaway at the standing start, he could be a real thorn in the side of everyone in front, including top independent on the grid, Alex McDowell. Father Ray, an ex-touring car racer there with his head in the door. And still no idea when the race will start, so we're a little bit on a holding pattern at the moment. Well, fifth on the grid, ex-British touring car racer, like Nash and Chilton in the Fords in front of him. So a little bit of an influx here from British Touring Car Championship racing, and the guys all, I think, doing a pretty stand-up job. They've come up from National Series into a very tough World Championship, and they're really showing good form. Yeah, definitely. It's a very different championship to the British Championship. These cars are the pinnacle of touring cars, which is obviously why it's the World Touring Car Championship. So the cars will be quite a lot different from what they've driven in WTCC, which tends to be retired World Touring cars. The rules are a little bit different, the drivers are a bit different, the standards of driving are a bit different, but it takes a little bit of adapting. It's something I did myself when I came to World Touring Cars, and it's maybe 2 or 3 races in, you start to realise what it's all about and how things are slightly different. And I think it's it's the same thing but just slightly different, really. We just saw Tom Chilton in 4th place on the grid in his Ford Focus. Franz Hengstler, best placed BMW on the Race 2 grid, and he has got to have high hopes of leading this field into the first chicane, because with the rear wheel drive of the BMW from the Race 2 standing start, he's going to have to make a big mess of it if he doesn't out-accelerate the front wheel drive cars around him. And the reason is basic physics, Harry. As you know, from any car, any vehicle, when it accelerates hard, it throws you backwards, it throws the weight backwards. That puts the weight on the driven wheels of the BMW, but takes it off the driven wheels of the front wheel drive cars, making wheel spin much likely. Yeah, definitely, and with the standing, obviously that's exacerbated, and I think we've seen Hengstler do some mega starts, and he's always been quick on street circuits as well in the past. So the only thing which is going to be difficult, yes, the car will take off like a robber's dog, but it's going to be quite hard to actually make a move on anyone down the first corner because it's so tight. Well, he's going to have to try and find a gap to squeeze through, but if Montero and Nash move up together, together into the middle of the road, then you're right. He's going to, as you can see, not really more than 3 lanes wide, not really more than 3 cars wide. The 5-minute board being shown there at the front of the grid, and you saw on the outside the front row of the grid is Thiago Montero in his Seat, and Paul Ridgway looking a little happier now. They've got the job done, and James Nash on pole position. Well, Tom Chilton's first points ever for TMA on Ford in the World Touring Car Championship. He's won, and the belt for Ford in the World Touring Car Championship as well was 7th. James Nash pole position now, and he will to try and stick at the front of this field and get the car, if not maybe circle, onto a podium finish. That's got to be determination now to try and stay in front and get a podium result for this Ford team in only their third World Touring Car Championship weekend. Crowds in the ground at Marrakech. The Sir commentator getting them excited. Let's get down to the grid with Ben Constantiouris and find out from Alan Cole at Team Aon Ford how they are feeling with their first World Touring Car pole.
It was an epic gamble to get James out on the grid, and you did it with 2.5 minutes to spare.
We got some very good guys. That's what it boils down to.
They had to change both control arms on the left side. What has James said about the car?
He says the steering's very slightly out, but it feels okay at the moment. But we'll see after the first few laps. It's a little bit of luck, hopefully. We'll be okay.
Okay, good luck.
Thanks.
I was down there just before they started work, and as well as the spare parts they needed in the toolboxes, one of the things they had was a big lump hammer, a big sledgehammer, because they needed to bend some of the damaged roll bars and so on out of the way as well. So they certainly worked hard. They took the gamble, and the gamble has paid off. James Nash is on pole position, ready to lead the field away. And Harry, that's going to be a great feeling for him. He was a little bit on tenterhooks last night, waiting to find out whether Gabriele Tarquini would lose his 5th place that would promote James Nash into 10th for race 1, pole for race 2. In the end, it took till after morning warm-up for that to be confirmed. Then there was the gamble, waiting to see if the car could get fixed. It's been a long wait for this moment for him.
Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity as well on this street circuit, because they might not necessarily have #1 car running pace, but on a street circuit where it's difficult to overtake, it's a lot easier to keep the rest of the guys behind you. And we've seen James in the first 2 rounds of the season. He's proved that he's very good at defending, so he's going to make it a hard job for anyone to actually get past him.
Absolutely right. So the field rolls off, ready for the start of round 6 of the World Touring Car Championship, led by James Nash in the Aon Team Ford, Thiago Monteiro, Franz Engstler's BMW, then Tom Chilton, Ford's 1st and 4th. And, you know, they've got a job list that's longer than the itinerary that Noah took onto the Ark. They've got an awful lot to get through, those boys, but, you know, every little bit, every day they're at the track, every day they're at a race weekend, they're moving on. You've got to start from somewhere and make progress, and they are doing that. On board with our World Touring Car champion and the points leader of Varmuller. Now 105 points to Alain Menu's 91. Menu is closing the gap. They're down to less than 20 points between them. It's into the teens. Rob Huff 26 points adrift. Needs to start winning soon. He hasn't won yet this year. Muller's taken 3 wins. Menu 2 out of the 5 starts so far. Been rather greedy. Pepe Oriola goes through shot. He's been entertaining in this race, I feel sure of it. He had such a start and such a great race in race 1. And in front of him, Alex McDowell as well had trouble in the opening lap of race 1. Let's see if he can get Yokohama independent victory out of this one.
Yeah, that's obviously what they're going to be going for. There's a lot of independence in that front pack there, and it's going to be tough for them to, they're going to be wanting to keep ahead. But in the same note, they don't want to get involved too much with the manufacturer cars, because it's not their fight to be fighting. I don't know, I've got a feeling in my bones that we're going to see a bit of carnage on the first couple of laps here, but that does tend to be the case normally on street circuits, so it's probably not that much of a gamble.
No, it often does. It's that's like putting a bet on some of the horses falling in the Grand National. It's pretty much a given. Of course, choosing which ones, that's the real art. Onboard shot there from Tom Chilton, weaving down a straight. He won't be getting his brakes up to too much temperature, because you are going to do that at the first stop anyway. There's the Rowan Motorsport team of Tom Coronel, who so very nearly started race 1 from pole position after an epic lap in qualifying that it took the entire Q2 for Alain Menu and Rob Huff to beat. And the gap from 1st to 3rd with Coronel in 3rd was only 67 thousandths of a second, covering the top 3. A really, really tight qualifying. And that on a street circuit as well shows just how millimetre perfect these drivers have to be to avoid major disaster.
I was down talking to Pasquale Di Sabatino before, and we spoke about in race 1 that he's learning these cars and the tracks every time, and every single session this weekend he's gone faster and faster, and I think he did a 45.1 in that second race, in the first race, sorry. So he was over the moon about that. So maybe that you can see some more action further down the field as well, people moving up.
I've been really impressed with him. He's really got his head up. He's really up for this challenge. This is an utterly different existence to the single-seaters he's raced up till now. And he's just doing a really good job. He's just getting right into the whole thing. Very impressed indeed. On board with Norbert Michaelis. There's the Zengo Motorsport team. They can't wait to get to Hungary, I'm sure. But for the moment, we are getting ready for the second race here in Marrakech. And Gabriele Tarquini pulls into the pit lane. This is a major blow for one of our main championship contenders. James Nash on pole position for round 6 of the World Touring Car Championship, and Gabriele Tarquini being pushed back into the garage. Should have started 12th. Something, either the electrical system or the suspension, is not right. There is a gap in front of his fellow village resident, Pasquale Di Sabatino. Comes from the same hometown as Gabriele Tarquini. And now he will benefit from that gap in front of him. But let's look at the man on pole position and the man directly behind him, James Nash and Franz Engstler, as we get ready for the start of round 6 of the World Touring Car Championship. The revs rise, clutches a biting point. Away we go. Good start from Nash. Not a great start from Engstler. Look at Coronel though. And Chilton trying to get through past Montero. Has got Montero's bumper across the front of his car already. James Nash holds the lead. Tom Coronel on the left of your picture going around Montero for third. Chilton's been shoved down the order. Has he got right front damage? He may have. He's wondering what the noise is. Nash leads.
Bits of his bumper. I think that you don't need that over the front if you've already got a brake overheating problem.
That's the back of Thiago's car. James Nash leads from Franz Engstler and Tom Coronel. What a great start from 8th place on the grid. Coronel is 3rd, Montero 4th, Daste 5th, and McDowell is in 6th ahead of the best of the Chevrolets, which is Ivan Muller ahead of Huff, Menu behind him, and Oriola got shuffled down the order. Well, that is exactly the start that James Nash must have been praying for. He got it hooked up, no pole position nerves, and McDowell really piling the pressure on there, but Muller and Huff both got by him. Chilton in the background trying to come back up past Norbert Michaelis. Michaelis was 13th, now 12th ahead of Chilton. Michaelis with the orange and black car has the inside line, as McDowell is still trying to hold off Menu and stay in front of Oriola.
Yeah, he did a good job of keeping Oriola behind there. He's obviously trying to let Menu through with a bit of contact there on the exit, I think, but without letting anybody else through.
Engstler and Daste are the top 2 independents, 2nd and 5th, but Coronel holding off Montero, and this is on board with Alex McDowell. What's happened to him? He's cruising slowly into the chicane in the background. Nash leads at the end of the first lap, but a massive queue of cars jostling for position. And actually, for James Nash, although Engstler's close, the closeness of everybody else to the car in front and behind helps Nash, because they're all taking care of each other. He's just got to watch for Engstler and keep his car in the middle of the road.
Yeah, definitely. As soon as, I thought Engstler was coming alongside there. As soon as anybody gets up behind Engstler, that's what Nash will be trying to do, is back him into the guys behind, which will be Coronel very short.
Muller up the inside of Daste. That's a big move. Gets to the apex and eases Daste out of the way. Muller's through. Huff is trying to go around the outside, and he gets the move gone as well. Daste's trying to stay out of the way. Let Menu go. Let Huff go. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. And then try and bottle up Oriola behind him.
You can see these 3 Chevys all fighting with each other. It's almost like being in a taxi around here. They have to get through the traffic, and they can't afford to let one of their teammates go.
Spots of water on the camera lens. Are we going to see rain in this race? What are we seeing on the windscreen of Menu's car? Not much. Nash leads, fastest race lap in the first lap. Couple of tenths ahead of Franz Engstler, but that's understandable. He is the race leader. But look at them all queuing up behind. Coronel in 3rd, the second those BMWs. Montero, will he hold off Muller? Not for long, I fancy. I think now we see what the Chevrolets have got on the streets here in Marrakech, and Muller's looking for the move, on board with Ivan. Oh, somebody, and Montero loses another bit of rear end. It looked almost as if Muller was understeering wide into the wall there. In fact, Yeah, Montero's hit the back of Coronel's car. There's a bit of Coronel's BMW that flew off, and another bit.
That'll be getting lighter every lap by the look of it. That almost, the first bit looked pretty heavy when it bounced off the front of one of those Chevys.
James Nash still leads, 2 laps of 11 down. Is anyone breathing on the Team A on pit wall? There's going to be some very blue faces if they have to hang on for another 10 laps of this, another 9 laps of this now as he goes on to lap 3. Wow, this is big stuff for James Nash. Chilton, incidentally, is 11th. He's just picked up the place from Norbert Michaelis, on board with Muller. What's left of Thiago Montero's Seat is in front. Muller lunges to the inside. Exactly the same move. He pulled on Daste, and with exactly the same result. And again, as with Daste, Huff's trying to go around the outside, and Montero's trying to deny him, but trying to keep it clean at the same time. Montero's getting swamped, and he knows it.
That was like a carbon copy of before, with the same reaction behind as well.
Montero, of course, with the older Seat turbo engine, which is definitely not as sharp as the new Orica-built one. And now Muller, Huff and Menu have all gone through. They are 4th, 5th and 6th. Just 3 cars remain in front of them and 9 laps still to go.
It's mega stuff, this, actually watching these Chevys come through the field, and you can see the pressure that all 3 of the drivers have got. They don't want to let the other one get away, because they know that if they get a cushion between the car and themselves, that can be the end of the race for them against their relative teammate that they're trying to score points over.
And most especially with Muller at the front of the queue. He's got more points than his 2 teammates. They cannot let him get away. Nash still leads. Engstler lands sideways and gathers it all up in second. Huge curb hitting episode there from Darrell Young gives Tom Chilton a chance. Chilton at the back of this long queue, right behind the yellow Seat, on board with Coronel. That's something you never want to see. That's the equivalent of having Senna in your mirrors as an 80s and 90s Grand Prix driver. You know Muller's coming, and you know he's coming hard down into the inside at the hairpin. And he goes through, and Huff goes through as well. Coronel couldn't get it squared up, and Power slides out wide, and Montero's gone right out wide as well, so he'll lose 2 or 3 places. Muller is now up to 3rd, Huff in 4th, and Menu in 5th, and it is still Nash who leads from Engstler.
That was a fantastic bit of opportunist driving as well from Rob. He saw that Ivan had punched the hole, and he followed him straight through the same gap.
James Nash leads on lap 4 of 11 here in Marrakech. Franz Engstler, the top independent now. He will roll over as soon as Muller arrives, and that rear gunner for Nash is going to be not much use. Engstler will be only interested in Independence Trophy, and in the background there you can see the Ford of Tom Chilton defending 10th against Thiago Montero, who's trying to come back after running out wide. Darrell Young having a look at Pepe Oriola, who hasn't got the pep of race 1, even though he's in 8th position. He's not making progress as Menu has a look on the inside. And Coronel trying to come back at him. Coronel has got back past Alan Menu. So James Nash still leads. Engstler now under pressure. He's got Muller and Huff, and Coronel's got back by Menu. Fantastic racing action here, but Menu trying to come around the outside, and Muller inside Engstler. That's a done deal. No, it's not. Contact. Engstler fights a lot harder than Muller had hoped for, but Engstler had nowhere to go. There was nowhere to tuck in, Harry.
No, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. I thought it was a done deal, and all of a sudden at the end there's a bit of contact, and Rob's making it through there.
Well, I think Engstler was trying to cut in behind Muller, but Huff was so close behind him, Engstler had nowhere to go and had to try and turn into the chicane or get penalised for jumping it. Now it's Nash, the sole survivor, in front of Muller and Huff and Engstler, and Menu back in front of Coronel, and Daste and Chilton dive bombs inside Darrell Young. So he's still got some brakes left, Tom Chilton. He's in 7th place, no, 9th place now, as his teammate James Nash still leads, but Muller fastest race lap, 1:45.4. 1 second quicker than the leader on that lap.
Yeah, it's a matter of time, I think, but...
massive sideways moment.
Yeah, it's a matter of time, and I'd be surprised if the brakes would last as well, but the speed that these 3 Chevys are coming through the pack, I think it's a done deal, really.
Muller is hurling that car almost at the scenery, but around this track. Now he dives to the inside again. He's been so assertive under braking. That Marshall better get back inside the pit wall. Makes a lot of room for Nash to try and sort himself out. Gets Nash between himself and Huff. Again for Muller. He wants not only to win this race, which would be his 4th of the season in 6 starts, but he must deny Huff the chance to stay close to him. So Muller leads. Here comes Huff, and Nash is not going to make this ultra hard. He wants to survive, and Charles Eng spins the car round. Looked like he might have a problem with the rear end of that BMW. Here comes Huffy. They've got speed in the straight line that this new Ford turbo motor cannot match, as Menu goes past Engstler for fourth. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, all together with Daste at the back. Engstler the top independent, and Daste the second independent. Wow. Harry, this is storming stuff. Look at the speed of Oriola into the chicane there. That was enormous speed.
It's a really close pack, and nobody can give an inch really, and it's just mega tight. It's kind of hard to know where to look next. Is that oil that's on the front of Menu's window there?
Maybe, or maybe fluid from a washer from a radiator system. Nash still in third, but Menu is in the hunt. Don't forget, Menu took pole, won race 1. Muller leads, Huff second. Pale blue bonnet is James Nash, and Alain Menu in 4th position. Well, this is a great boost for the Aon team. James Nash starting from pole and getting away cleanly as Coronel swung around. Not a good start for Engstler. Chilton got shoved into the pit wall.
That was a mega start from Coronel, wasn't it?
Oriola missed the lights completely. Chilton was walled there by Thiago Montero. And I would have thought that, the stewards will look at that, but probably let Montero get away with it. Coronel in front of Engstler. He's picked up a place there as well, as Menu finally gets by James Nash. 1, 2, 3 for Chevrolet. Perhaps no big surprise, and slightly disappointed faces at Team Aon Ford, but I don't think they've got anything to be disappointed about. They've done a great job getting that car out on track, and as we heard, it may not be steering properly either. Just what you want with concrete walls at every corner.
Yeah, that's not ideal. Looking at the Chevy battle at the front there, though, you've got Rob's just done a lap 3/10 faster than Ivan, so it's far from over yet. I think he's only 4/10 off from the end of that last lap as well, so I think we'll expect to see those two nose to tail when they come over the line next time.
Well, loads of replays of the battles with Muller carving his way through the field, and this is all from lap or two ago. Not quite sure why we're seeing this now. The race is still alive. There you go. There are our leaders. 1, 2, 3. Muller, Huff, Menu, Nash in 4th with real pressure from behind. Engstler has been passed by Coronel, so the lead BMW is Tom Coronel, trying to get by the Ford. Menu, fastest race lap, 1:45.1, quicker than his two teammates by a big margin, 0.6 of a second.
I wonder what's going through the guys on the wall at Chevy's mind is now. What do you do in their situation? You've got the 3 fastest guys in the championship all wanting to compete with each other, and there's no team orders. So
no, there will be no team orders, no hold position, none of that. Go for it. They don't want all 3 cars wrecked. They don't want a Ford win or a BMW win, but they are not going to restrain their drivers at the moment. They've hired the best professionals that money can buy, and they will expect them to race like the best professionals that money can buy. And I tell you what, if that car of James Nash's is not steering properly, then even more kudos to him. He is doing a great job, still hanging on in front of Tom Coronel, bearing in mind it's the car, the team and the drivers' first ever time on a street circuit, first ever time here at Marrakech, and Coronel's raced here twice before. Mikulits is out of the race.
Coronel flashing. It's a matter of time, I think, but James is doing a really good job of keeping everyone behind, and he's fighting really fairly, and like you say, he's obviously going to have a few problems with the brakes towards the end, and it's his first time here. He's battling with some really experienced guys who've been here a lot of times before.
Well, this is Norbert Mikulits earlier on in front of Tom Chilton, who got delayed at the start by getting slammed into the wall by Thiago Montero. But I tell you what, Muller, Huff and Menu, the fastest cars in the business, and Chevrolet have never been slouches on street circuits, so far have just managed to squeeze 1 second away from this Ford Focus. Look at that, Daste up the inside of Engstler. That is for the Yokohama Independent race lead. Great move. On board with Pepe Oriola, there is Daste diving inside Engstler. That was a great move. Oh, and Engstler powered it up. The turbo cut in. He hit the wall that straightened him up. Big lock up from James Nash. Can he make the apex? Yes. Can Coronel get around the outside? No.
I wonder if that's the start of this braking issue coming in, because with the long pedal you don't quite get the feel through it, and the oil will be boiling and really hot, and you just don't get the same feedback from the pedal.
Now Coronel senses that there is blood in the water. Is Menu looking to make a move on Huff? Not yet. He's cooling his radiator down. Coronel is looking to make a move. Bits of his floor flying off there. He's got Daste behind him. Stefano Daste is a light in race 2. Look at this.
This is that battle, the BMW battle that we should have seen in qualifying. I think you've got the two quickest guys in a BM who are out there together now, and you know they're going to have to. Coronel's going to have to force the issue, I think, on James soon, or else he's going to have Daste squeezing up the inside.
While Nash is controlling the pace of those behind, he's bottling up Coronel for Daste to attack, but Daste should be worrying about Oriola behind. And look, Chilton's got in front of Engstler as well, so Chilton now up into the top 8. He was 7th in race 1, the first World Championship points for these teams. Nash bounces up good. Yeah, you can see he's understeering more into the corner because he's getting in deeper. The brakes aren't slowing him the way he wants, and he may now be starting to have to brake a little earlier than Tom Coronel behind him is expecting. It's a massive queue of cars behind the Chevys.
Yeah, it is. I think you can see James, he's defending pretty much spotlessly. He's not giving Coronel an inch, and
Coronel's tapping, so this is the battle for 4th. Nash, Coronel in the BMW on the right-hand side, 26. That's Daste, the team, the Vika Sport team going, come on, come on, come on. Daste's just in front of Oriola and Engstler. That's the top 3. Daste, Oriola, Engstler. Well, Engstler's now behind Chilton, but Daste and Oriola battling for the independent class win.
I wonder if Engstler damaged his car a little bit when he slid it into that wall. It looked like he actually hit it fairly hard, so he might have given himself a little bit of rear right toe out or something like that.
Well, using the wall to straighten up is not to be guaranteed to not damage the car. Muller staying clear of Huff, 6/10 clear. Huff is 7/10 clear of Menu. Then Nash, Coronel, Daste, Oriola, Chilton, Engstler. And then Thiago Montero, as Engstler's gone back by Tom Chilton. Thiago Montero having a look as Nash gets all over the wall, and Tom Coronel is up the inside, and so too is Stefano Daste. They both go by James Nash, who drifted wide offline, got dirt on the tyres and couldn't tighten the Ford back up in the middle of the corner.
That's exactly where we saw Chilton struggling a little bit on that first corner. It's a massive stop up there. It's, I think he's braking from 128 miles an hour, I think it is. So it's, you know, it's a big stop.
Yeah, he was saying corner 2 was the worst on the track for him, Tom Chilton, in race 1. And he has now got Pepe Oriola behind him, James Nash. So it's Coronel 4th, Daste 5th, and Nash in 6th. And this is how it looked from Coronel's camera. James Nash drifts off wide onto the dirt, and that just enhances the effect of you going off downhill effectively away from the racing line and away from that grip.
Coronel was straight there as well. He didn't need that opportunity twice, did he? It was good opportunistic move.
Pepe Oriola going around the outside of James Nash. Nash at the moment in 6th position. Chevy 1, 2, 3, Muller, Huff, Menu. Not helping Rob Huff. Menu will, Muller rather, will pull away a fraction of gain from him in this race. And they are now starting to see that the lack of really hard fighting is working for them. They're pulling away from Coronel and Daste, and still James Nash is working hard in 6th position to stay in front of Oriola as Tom Chilton's come in, and this may be a legacy, well, of that, but also maybe a legacy of being clumped into the pit wall on the run down to the first corner by Thiago Montero, waving everybody by, and it looks like he's posting a retirement. Oriola half thinking about a move on Nash, half defending against Engstler there, perhaps. Now we're hearing that a drive-through penalty will be given to Tom Coronel, but he may not survive that long. A massive tank slap as the car lands in all sorts of crossed-up shape. Why is Coronel being given a drive-through penalty? I cannot understand.
I'm not entirely sure why Daste is waving at him either. I don't think that was exactly intentional.
The only thing that we've seen is he tapped James Nash in the hairpin. Nash wasn't forced offline. Tom Coronel didn't take a move. Maybe it's for being fully inside the curbs too many times. Look at this. That is a monster moment. Okay, so now we're being told there is no drive-through penalty. It was just a black and white flag. He's been warned about to respecting the track limits. We saw there he was completely inside the curbs on the exit of the previous chicane, turn 10 and 11.
he was mega lucky to get away with that. He was so close to the barrier, and then for that to not pitch him into the inside wall as well, it's really done well to hang on to it.
Well, those of you who are on the Twitter machine, if you follow @Tom Coronel after the race, he'll be posting another new video. It'll have some on board. It'll be interesting to hear what he's got to say about that, because that was a real sphincter tightening moment if ever there was one. He's still fourth ahead of Daste, and James Nash is still in sixth. It's still on target for the best ever result for Ford in the World Touring Car Championship. If Engstler is beaten up by, or rather if Engstler keeps beating up Oriola, that takes a little bit more pressure off James Nash. All he needs, maybe, Harry, is one lap to relax where he's not braking in extremis.
Yeah, exactly. He's just got to hold on for the rest of this lap, but
yeah,
there's Oriola having a little look, but he's obviously seen that he's struggling at that one corner. This is the big stop that we were talking about before, so if he can hang on through the chicanes, which we know the Ford's mega over those lumps, he should be okay, I think.
Well, he's really under pressure. Pepe's giving it everything. How can this be the last lap? That can't be the last lap yet. This is so fast, this race. Car 12 being investigated for cutting the chicanes, so that might end up being a time penalty for Tom Coronel. He may end up having fourth taken away. Daste leads the independence class, but all eyes on our race leader, Ivan Muller, heading for win number 4 of the season. How many did he win last year on his way to the championship? 5 in total, I seem to think. And Huff and Menu can do nothing about him.
Look how close they are together.
Muller's got a crash to give this away. Coronel fourth, Daste fifth, leading the Indies, and James Nash in sixth position. Daste pulls out of the slipstream. He's not going to try and pass Coronel, nor does he need to. Muller, Huff, Menu. Same 3 drivers that were on the race 1 podium, but in the reverse order. Muller wins, Huff second again, Menu third, and Oriola's been chased to the line by Engstler, who's going to get the position second in the Yokohama Trophy points. As Nash gets 6th, Oriola gets 7th by 21 thousandths ahead of Franz Engstler. So Engstler was alongside, but not completely in front.
Yeah,
wow.
I think that was all on the way in there. Oriola was right behind, he was tucked in behind, and then Engstler's obviously seen that coming and being able to loop out wide and fire the car out of the corner and obviously roll up.
Well, it's Chevy 1-3, they've swept him in both races. Always been on Marrakech. Well, Tom Coronel, no, it's car 12, not 15. Coronel not 12. 12 is Pasquale Di Sabatino. So it's not a question about Coronel finishing 4th. Daste 5th. Takes the independent victory. James Nash 6th. And well done indeed to the team at McCann. Well done indeed to James Nash. They started on gang on fixing the car in time. They did get it fixed. They gave him pole position, allowed him to start on the front row of the grid, and he did a great job to record the team's and Ford's best ever World Touring Car results. Big step up for Team Ford drivers, scoring for the first time in a World Championship here on the toughest track they've come to on the streets in Marrakech.